This extreme closet renovation started when my daughter decided she wanted to move upstairs into this bedroom. The one caveat is that it had this super big, dark closet that freaked her out. So she said, "Mom, can you make this closet smaller and less creepy?" When I made the plans to build a wall and shorten up this closet, my mind started to go wild with ideas for what I could use the rest of the space for. And lucky for me, the other side of this wall in this closet is adjacent to my primary bedroom. So I decided that I am going to transform this underutilized, slanted ceiling, dark, dingy closet into a space that works amazing for both bedrooms. Phase 1 is building a custom storage solution for Lily's closet. Since I'm going to do the standard depth 24-inch closet, I need there to be a lot of clothing storage in a very small amount of space. Now, Lily doesn't need a hanging rod. She doesn't like hanging her clothes, and the slanted ceiling really cuts off area for me to hang much. So instead, I'm going to build a custom set of drawers. These are very unique in that the drawer is super deep. I wanted to use all that floor space that's currently inaccessible because you have to duck so much with the slanted ceiling to get back there. Instead, I'm going to build drawers that pull out, and they are 36 inches deep. The design follows the slant of the ceiling, and at the top it just has a simple shelf. I'm building with predominantly 3/4-inch plywood and pocket screws. I'm placing my pocket screws so they'll be hidden in the final design. I have a great tutorial on my very simple and foolproof method for building drawers that you can watch. I'll link it in the cards. When it came time to finishing my piece, I covered up my stripy plywood edges a variety of ways. I made a thin face frame for the box. I used watered down wood filler for the tops of the drawers because it was only 1/2-inch thick plywood that I used for the drawers. And then I also did edge banding for the drawer fronts just because those are going to be really fancy. I primed everything, including the inside of the drawers, and for the drawer fronts, I'm going to be spraying on an oil-based spray paint just for durability. I have not built a ton of custom furniture, but every piece that I've done, I've tried to learn a new skill. So for this piece, I tried inset drawers for the first time. Part of that I cheated by adding that face frame because if it didn't have a face frame, the inset drawers would have been even more complicated. But I'm really proud of how this all turned out, and I love the amount of storage it provides. So excited to get this installed in Lily's new closet. So let's go there next. Lily helped me cut out the carpet where this set of drawers is going to go, and we tucked it right in the corner. It fit like a glove. And I installed it by screwing the inside of the box to some of the wall studs. Now it's time for phase 2 on this closet makeover. In phase 2, I am opening up a brand new doorway in my bedroom so that now the closet space will be accessed from both rooms. I decided to place this doorway exactly opposite of the other closet's doorway, and I'm making it the same size as well. It's not a standard door opening, and it's not meant to have a door on it. The current closet in my master bedroom is so small and really overstuffed with clothes. We need more storage desperately, and so I'm really excited to add this additional square footage to my bedroom. On the inside of the bedroom, it's been drywalled. At one point, this old house was all plaster and lath because this part of the house was originally built at some point in the 1930s. So on the inside of the closet, I will be having to cut through plaster and lath. I'll be using a diamond crusted blade on my angle grinder to do this, and it was extremely dusty, but I was so happy that the diamond blade cut right through the plaster without crumbling it at all and allowed me to get a precise opening. Next, I had to rework the framing a bit, and since I'm only removing one of the wall studs, I'm just adding in some pocket screws and a 2x4 to support that into my other 2 studs. If I had removed more than one stud, I probably would have done more beefy framing, I think this is going to be just fine. I trimmed out the new doorway with really thin material just to make it pretty without taking away too much height or width to the opening. And with that, phase 2 of adding a second doorway is done. We're going to move on to phase 3, which is building up a wall to separate the two spaces. So here again, I had to cut out more carpet. You can see where I want to put the wall is going to be right up next to my custom set of drawers. Originally, I framed out this wall in my garage and I used my little stud master to space all of my studs 16 inches on center. And with my framing nailer, it really went fast, but I made a huge mistake in that I can't really fit this framing through my house. The stairs are too steep, and I just had to take it all apart in order to put it together in the space. At least everything was cut to the right dimensions. At this point, I want to invite you to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. There I share behind the scenes content and my stories every day and a lot of fun short format videos you don't get to see on YouTube. Once the wall was strong and sturdy, I began to apply the drywall. So I have a sheet of drywall as well as some remnants I'm going to be trying to use up to get this wall finished off. I'm going to put drywall on Lily's side first and move forward with taping and mudding that. Before I apply drywall to my side of the wall, I popped some leftover insulation in there just for a little bit of sound barrier. You know, interior walls don't need insulation, but I had to use this up, so I just put in there what I had. Here again, I'm planning for some drawers to be installed, and so I'm not drywalling all the way to the wall. It's just not necessary because I'll be installing drawers in that space. So in both Lily's closet and my closet, the walls were very rough to the touch, and I didn't really want to be in there getting dressed without clothes on, brushing up against something that would scratch my skin. So I decided to skim coat everything, and this really took a long time. I probably should call it phase 4, just all this skim coating and sanding and like prepping the walls. But it's not quite phase 4 because anybody can skim coat is not that impressive. The real phase 4 was electrical work. So the first thing I did was move the existing closet light over into the space that is going to be in Lily's side. Whoever installed this light just patched right over the wire that they ran through the plaster, and this was really not the right way to do it. There's no nail plates protecting this wire or anything. So I'm glad I got this moved. And then now the switch still controls the light in Lily's side. On the primary side of the closet, I'm adding a receptacle low to the ground that will control the LED strip lighting for this space. So the receptacle I'm pulling from isn't really adding any new wiring. I have this random outlet at the top of my wall inside my bedroom that's connected to a switch by the door. Since the switch is already all wired and it's everything's the right length, I'm literally just moving this through the wall, down and on the opposite side in the closet. Does that make any sense? After all this moving of electrical, I had a lot of patching to do, including patching drywall by putting a wood support behind it and using this metal wire patch for the plaster from where I moved the original light fixture. Phase 5 is painting. So both spaces got fully primed after skim coating. And then in Lily's closet, I had the drawers already installed. I used Baccarat and caulking in order to get a really nice finish and just solidify them as built-ins. I painted the whole space a neutral beige. And then in my closet, I painted and finished all the walls before installing the drawers. But originally, I was coating this in a color that I thought was going to be neutral and turned out kind of peachy pink. So I adjusted it using some random method of a little black, a lot of white, and then I repainted it in a color I liked more. Moving on to phase 6, installing the clothes storage for the primary closet. I had the idea to just use kitchen cabinet lowers. In my closet, I wanted a little more floor space so I can move around in here. So I'm going to sacrifice on drawer depth. And what I had planned out to build was about like a 23-inch deep drawer. It occurred to me as I was doing my measurements that a base cabinet you can just buy prefabricated was the exact measurements I needed for the space. So I bought 5 of these totaling just over $1,000 and I installed them, leveled them, and these are going to work great. I'm getting tons of storage with very little work. For the top of these drawers, I'm installing a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood and adding a little bit of thickness to it so that I can cover it in contact paper and it will be a convincing faux stone. So I primed all the unfinished cabinets and the raw plywood so that everything was sealed up, and then I got to attaching my contact paper. I have a whole video breaking out my best tips and tricks, but basically I smoothed it down, and then to wrap around the front edge, I used a blow dryer and the heat kind of shrunk the vinyl contact paper around and made it really nice and secure. I finished all of my closet drawers in a semi-gloss enamel paint. I didn't choose to spray these just because of like the cold weather outside, but instead I just had them dry in my bedroom, creating absolute chaos. When the cabinet boxes were all painted, I installed the toe kick, and then I installed all the handles, and then it was time for the cool lighting plan that I had. This LED strip plugs into that outlet I wired that's controlled by my switch. I tucked the wire behind my baseboard, and then I ran the LED strip underneath my toe kick. So this is going to be indirect lighting that is bright enough to really fill the space, and it's going to look so modern and chic. One area I needed to figure out how to fix was the threshold to enter my side of the closet. So since I removed framing here, you can see exposed subfloor, and I originally tried to patch in some carpet, but it just looked terrible. So I decided to cut a custom wood threshold to go over the edge of the carpet. This worked great, and after I painted it, it blends seamlessly with the carpet around it. In Lily's closet as well as my own, we just did hooks for hanging things like hoodies and just making quick access. But Instagram and TikTok thought I was absolutely crazy for not having a closet rod. How about you? Does your family actually hang their clothes? Do they use hangers and rods, or would they actually use drawers and hooks more? Let me know in a comment below, and without further ado, here is the finished closet. Lily's side is very well thought out and functional for such a small space. The very large drawers pull out and you can stand right next to them to access all the way in the back, and the light allows you to see everything you need in these huge drawers. The dividers really help her keep organized, and this drawer stack has more than 22 cubic feet of storage, not even counting the shelf above. The average dresser has like 18 to 20 cubic feet, so it is very large. So zooming back out from Lily's side of the closet and moving next door into my primary bedroom, I can hardly believe this additional closet space that we've gained. I feel like it has made my primary bedroom feel so luxurious to have like a his and hers closet. I still haven't fixed up the old closet in there, but maybe for the future. This new closet is so functional and amazing. The drawer storage holds all of mine and my husband's clothes, and it's enough space for us that we can maneuver around in here really easily, getting dressed, having like our laundry in here. The beautiful LED mirror also provides extra lighting, and I love that the doorway is close to the window, so a lot of natural lighting floods into this space. The dark and dingy closet that this square footage in our house once was so underutilized, and it's nothing like that now. Now every square inch is well thought out and put to work. This extreme closet renovation was a lot of months of work. I'm really happy with how it turned out, but I want to know your opinion in the comments. Is there something that you would have done differently, or do you have a piggyback idea to make my closets even better? Thank you so much for watching. Welcome to the woods. We will catch you again next week.